Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Planet Tyro Library. You're here with me, Donald Wonder. Now, a few weeks ago, I did mention that I'm going to be taking more requests from the audience, from our subscribers. And there was someone at Facebook that hit me up. Her name was Barbara Layton. She actually recommended a book to me that was very popular. Well, it seems to be very popular on audible.com as an audiobook. And actually, when she recommended the plot to me, I was kind of hesitant. It's a black slavery story with a science fiction twist. And I thought to myself, look, I don't mind reading stories from black authors. I definitely want to see more black authors do stories, but slavery, why has it always got to be about slavery? I want to see multicultural authors do something out of the norm. And for black writers, I've seen so much about slavery, especially nowadays with these movies, 12 Weeks a Slave, The Butler. I want us to do something else, just draw from completely different experiences. But the sci-fi element got the better of me. I thought to myself, okay, when I read more about the context of the story, I thought, okay, this is interesting. Also, the author is one of the most prolific black female science fiction authors to date, and she actually wrote these stories in the late 70s. So this was a woman, a black science fiction author who's a female, and that's really unheard of. So I actually thought I wanted to give her a little bit of credit. And actually, I was also meant to do this review for Black History Month in February last month, so I do apologize I've got to it late. But let me tell you what this is about, guys. So the story is pretty straightforward. The story is called Kindred. It's about a young woman called Dana. The story is set in 1976, I believe. And Dana is married to a white male. They're both writers and they both live together. And all of a sudden, Dana finds herself transported to the pre-civil time of slavery in the, I think it's 1890 something. And basically, the story finds her being transported into the time of slavery, and she has no idea why. She saves this little white boy, and she's attacked by this woman, by the mother of the child, and is nearly killed. And basically, she keeps on getting sent back to the past and the future. The past and the future. If you guys remember that old TV show Quantum Leap, where that guy was being teleported back in time and he was helping people out, it's kind of like that, but this woman's being transported to the same person. It's not different people. She's teleported back to this white boy, this white young boy, and the white boy comes from a family of slave owners. They're a slave owner family. They have a plantation, and for some reason she keeps being drawn to this boy. And what you find out in the story is actually the boy is a distant relative to her, and there must be a reason why she's been sent back to this boy. So again, upon reading the story, I thought to myself, what is this going to be? Is this going to be like a modern day story of how this woman's going to try to fix slavery, or is she going to make a difference? This story is actually very observant, it's actually very intelligent, and it's very frustrating. It was frustrating for me because it kind of showed me that even if someone from modern times was transported back to the time of slavery as a black person, there's not much you can do to make change. But you can be observant, you can be smart. I guess you can do things to kind of help out and stuff. But Dana as a character, I commended what she was trying to do, but I just found her a little bit out of touch and a little bit naive. And to be honest with you, her life is in danger in this very dangerous setting, and she knows things about the future. And I don't know, man. I understand from a writer's perspective what she was doing. She's being very observant. She was showing you how slavery was wrong, and it was interesting to see her interact with people, with so much backwards people, not just the white people, but the black slavers as well. It's very interesting in that respect, but I kept on seeing myself in her, like, what would I do? And the decisions she made as the story went on just became more frustrating. But I understood it from a humanitarian standpoint. I thought to myself, I understand what the writer's trying to do, and I like the conversation it's bringing, but I don't know if I would make those decisions, which is obviously we're different people. But I just thought to myself, if it's even getting to the point of unrealism. But as the story went on, her patience and her humanitarianism is pushed to the brink, and it's a very gut-wrenching story, but it's an interesting story at that. So I don't regret reading the story, but it was frustrating that just like all these black slavery stories are, slavery was a horrible time. I know people want to get past it. I know especially, white people born of this culture don't like being dragged back. And we see that a lot in today's society. A lot of, people in the white society don't like bringing back slavery when it has nothing to do with them. But don't get me wrong. I know we have to understand our past, but this book was a good talking point. And actually, looking from the offset, I've actually seen the writer, if I didn't mention her name is Octavia E. Butler. This book was actually, I think it won an award, and they've been using it for conversation in schools to teach. And I think this book is a good talking point in school. Learning about slavery in school can be very difficult. I think this book does a good job of that if you have a modern day character in that setting itself, bringing context. That is what I like more about this book, the talking point. As a story, I actually found this very frustrating, but I appreciated what the character was doing, putting a modern day character in this setting. And I think another thing that bothered me is the book was written in 1976 and the main character comes from 1976. At that time, there was a lot of racism, so this woman is very level-headed, even more so than, put it this way, I would think her character would be more believable if her character was from now, 2016, than 1976, where civil rights was still a hot topic and it was still going, a lot of racism still going on. So I kind of found her just a character like, I don't believe that she's this compassionate, that this, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but just from a writing standpoint, I was a bit frustrated. But on Goodreads, there's a lot of 5s, a lot of 4s and all that stuff. This was a great read. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the book. It was well written, even for a book that's 20, 30 years old. Very well written book. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it into a movie, because I could see it being another interesting talking point, even though I just said I've seen enough of these kind of slavery movies. But it's a good book. I won't deny that. But it frustrated the hell out of me because the main character got himself in so many situations that I wouldn't have made those decisions. I probably would have been a very not a nice person with that kind of power of the future. But this book is serving a purpose as a talking point about slavery. But science fiction is, the time travel is more or less a science fiction point, and that was the main reason I read the book. I wanted to see where the science fiction fit in with the slavery element. But the science fiction is just an element. The main story is just about the slavery time and a modern perspective on that, and a modern character in that time frame, which is an interesting concept. But if you're talking about enjoyment, for me, I would give this book like a readable, a watchable, readable. It's a good book, but I was frustrated by the character. But I guess it's not about me reading it for enjoyment. It's about me understanding, and I completely understand that. It's about me understanding the perspective of what the book's trying to do. And I do appreciate the talking point, and I do think it's an important book, and I do appreciate the author is a black female author writing science fiction about a very pivotal, important part of black history. Again, I don't know how, people take well to the book. I was thrown off a little bit by it, but it's still a good book. So you guys can tell I'm here and there about it, and I do apologize. This isn't a very conventional book review because this book did bring a bit of emotion. I'm a little bit iffy about the book, but I just wanted to give you my honest opinions. This is a good book, especially for a talking point, but from an enjoyment standpoint, it made me uncomfortable, especially, it's slavery. Of course it makes you feel uncomfortable, but the character annoyed the hell out of me. But guys, if you haven't heard of the book, I'll say check it out. You'll know it's a very interesting concept. It's very well done, and the Goodreads, the reviews are very shining. And even though, another fun fact, at the time she wrote the book at the 1970s, wasn't well received, didn't really make a lot of waves, only later in her life. And to be honest with you, I'm sure that's got to do with the fact that she's a female author and she was black as well. But over the years, this book has been looked upon more kindly now. They've gone back and they've given them more accolades for it. And it's a good story, I do want to say that. But let me just end there because I feel like I'm, belaboring the point, going on and on about it. But you guys get the point. So anyway, I want to thank the Facebook mention for the Facebook friend for recommending it. I really do appreciate that. I do take recommendations here and there. I try to fit them in what I'm doing on Planet Tyro. But again, guys, I like to see what you guys are reading, what drives you guys, what you guys find interesting, because, it interests me. So on that note, guys, if you have any comments, leave them down below. Any recommendations, leave them down below. And I want to say thanks for watching. You can check out all the other videos we do on Planet Tyro here by checking out the annotations you can see on the right there for TV shows, movies, books, everything. So many videos, so many discussions. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me, rambling with you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.